La 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 la. Do you want to have a spooky paranormal discussion with us? Come join us. Warning, this show is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed are theories, folklore, historical, fantastical, and speculation, and not to be taken as pure fact. Viewer discretion is advised. Melanie Lightbeam and the Shamrock Pixie join forces together to bring you paranormal, strange, unusual, scary, spooky, or just overall unbelievable stories and discussions. Viewer discretion is advised. This is an open talk show discussing all things paranormal. We encourage audience participation. So sit back, grab some popcorn, share out to your friends. Together, we can explore the paranormal. Don't forget, subscribe to everyone, hit that like button, share out, or for super chats as a thank you. Have fun and enjoy. Welcome to the show. Enjoy the show. Hello. I've got this stupid fly that keeps flying around. So if you see something going across the screen, it's going to be a fly this time.
This time.
I don't know what it was last time. Hello and good evening. And already we have people saying hello. We got Chris Shook is in the house. Hello.
Hello.
Chu is in the house. Hi, Chu. Tammy, she changed her name. She is now Miss Fox. Oh, Miss Foxy. Miss Foxy. I like that. Foxy. What's that? Was it Austin Powers or something? Where he's doing the Foxy.
I couldn't tell you.
I
just know.
It's a great name. I'm not trying to make fun of it. It's a great name. I'm just thinking of that scene where it's like dun 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 Foxy.
When I see Miss Foxy, it makes me think of my grandmother, who when she was younger. No, just hold on. It's a good story. So my grandmother is a redhead, and her CB handle was Foxy Redhead. So they used to travel. My mom and my grandma used to travel from Florida to Texas all the time, back and forth. And so the truckers knew who my grandma was, and they would protect my mom and my grandma when they go from Florida to Texas and back. So that's what it makes me.
It was Wayne's World. Okay. I couldn't remember if it was Austin Power or Wayne's World, but I know he's in both of them, so it was Wayne's World. Yeah, it was Garth. Dun, 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 dun. That was a blast from the past. That just shows where my mind is. It's like I knew the reference, but got the wrong movie.
It's okay. I get movies confused all the time.
Particularly when it's the same actors. That's where I got it wrong, because it's yeah. Anyway, welcome. If you notice, Des is feeling much better. I'm so happy. She looks better. She sounds better. It's a big difference. So I'm so
happy. I feel a lot better than I did last week, and Tuesday I was still hurting. And if you know me, you know that I don't like pain medication, and I was still taking pain medication this past weekend, and it just, I do not recommend going and getting 9 teeth pulled at one time. If you can split it up, please do so, because of my severe anxiety, I ended up doing it all at one time, and it was not fun.
I don't know how you did it, but you know something, you did it. You're smiling. You look so much better. You're back. So it's going to take time for it to heal.
Yeah. August 5th will be a whole new day for me. And, you know, when you have, you're cursed with bad teeth, chalk teeth, you know, it happens. And so here we go.
Now we're going to condense this show into a shorter show tonight, because we have to cut this
out early, but we still wanted to give you guys a whole bunch of information. So I will admit I really didn't prepare that much because I wanted to hear more of what everybody has to say. If
Right.
not, I have some websites that we could take a look at, because one of the things that I absolutely love is that every single state has their own urban myth and urban legend, and some
Yep.
of them are just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and I know, like, where I grew up, we had a story that was kind of passed around, and it was about an old house that was out in the country, and a lot of weird things happened if you went past the house. Like, if you would go to the house, you pass the house, and go any further back into the back part of the property, um, you would end up in a car accident.
Oof.
And there were people that went past the house and were in car accidents, and some made it and some didn't. So we tried to stay away from that house if possible.
See, I always wonder with these legends and myths, is there some sense of truth to it, and that's why it's so prevalent? Like, because I mean, they are based on true facts, but
Right.
it's like I almost feel like urban myths and legends is like a game of telephone. Like somebody starts a story, and then
Yeah.
each person the story touches, it changes a little bit until finally it's this scary, creepy.
Right. And I do have the definitions of both.
Oh,
So
good.
let me read those real quick. So, as myths tend to include supernatural events in a timeless past, there is no objective proof for them. Legends are stories based on historical events of figures, and hence usually exist within a certain time frame and can be placed on a real timeline. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Okay,
And
I summarized it real quick
yep,
and put it in the
that's
chat.
cool. So I mean, myths, urban legends, they really are there to, like, kind of like when we were talking about the fairy tales. It's almost like how that was when they first started with fairy tales. It was to keep kids in check.
Mm-hmm.
One that I remember being told was the hook. The
Yes.
kids that went out parking and making out, and there was the hook. And that one I remember, not that I ever did that, but it was just, I remember that.
I'm curious how long that story has been around, because when you mentioned that story, I'm like, yes, that was in the book Scary Stories to Tell from the Dark. And that was in the 80s. And the thing about the 80s, like growing up in the 80s, everything was horror. You had Goosebumps, you had Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, you had oh god, I remember them. They're by the campfire, the Midnight Society. It was on Nickelodeon or something. Tales from the Midnight Society, and they would throw the thing and the fire would go up. And I mean, these were all scary stories to tell, and kids are watching this. And then you had all the classic horror beings that would come out. You had like a Nightmare on Elm Street series. You had the Jason series, the Mike Myers. So it's almost like we grew up in a time where horror is our entertainment.
Right. Okay, so I looked it up. The Hookman legend. That urban legend actually began circulating widely in the 1950s.
50s. Okay, so it is
The
going back a while.
1950s, yep. And there are many variations, but the basic story is the same. So that urban legend, I mean, it's interesting remembering, hearing that from other kids that I went to school with and stuff. And I was like, oh, whatever, And I was a bookworm. That's where my school years was bookworm. I did some cheerleading, but I loved learning. So I was a nerd. So
I literally did not exist in school. I didn't exist.
No.
I did, but I didn't. Like, I was involved in everything, Like you go through the yearbook, you could see me in so many clubs because I kept myself busy with clubs and activities and events, but yet nobody knew who I was.
I think everybody knew who I was because I made it a point to go around and say hi to everybody and wish them a good day. And, you know, something that I don't do anymore for the most part. But it's, I think a lot of people knew who I was in school because I did do that. I stood out that way. So urban legends are cool to hear about. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. My grandfather, I wish my grandfather was with us still. My grandfather, he would come back on, so they lived in Florida. We lived in Wisconsin, and every summer they would come up and he would tell us about him and my grandmother's worldly travels.
Ooh.
Yes, so we would sit around the campfire, bonfire, whichever one you want to call it, and he would tell us stories of the things that, because they used to travel in an RV as well. So, so he would tell us different stories of the different ghost towns that they had been at, and he would draw you in. And you couldn't break free because you were so hooked and invested in the story.
You want to know what happened next.
And you wanted to know what happened next. Now, I wish I had that gift, that gifted talent of being able to do that, because that's one thing I didn't get from my grandpa. But, you know,
you have amazing stories. Don't put yourself down on
well,
that.
And I understand that, but the way that he told them, like if he was still with us, I wish I could have had him come on, because he would have gotten each and every one of you, and it probably would have been a viral video. That is how good he was.
Now, see, I grew up on Long Island in New York, and there was a lake in the middle of the island called Lake Ronkonkoma. And that is such a haunted lake. So many people have died there. They drowned because what happens is people don't realize how deep that lake is. It's like you would just think it's a regular lake, but when you swim out, it drops so deep that they're saying that maybe there might be like a whirlpool or a vortex or something that would suck people down. But the urban legend story, that in fact, what I'll do is I've got a link. I'll paste the link if anybody wants to see the story. It basically was an Indian woman who fell in love with a white settler, and she wanted to marry him. But of course, her father, I mean, it's almost like a Pocahontas story. Her father's like, you're not going to marry this person. So she decided to unalive herself in the lake. And what she does is, whenever there is a young, beautiful man that's swimming in the lake, she'll go over to them and draw them in the lake and drown them. So that's the urban legend of that. And it's so weird as to how many men have passed away in this lake drowning. But I mean, it could be, like I said, the fact that because the lake is so deep and people don't realize how deep it is, it's college kids going there drunk or something. They're probably going to drown. But it's an interesting story. And if you want to read it, I put one of the links. There's so many stories about Lake Ronkonkoma. So you can look up. There's a lot of tales about it. That's the one that I grew up to in New York. But New York was full of scary stories. I mean, we had the Amityville Horror House, which was a true story. I mean, yeah, the movie like made it all spooky and stuff like that. But the fact is, there was a guy that moved in with his family, went nuts, killed the family, but I mean, what is Timmy says, we had an urban legend at camp. I went to a lady about who died in a flood in Santa Cruz Mountains, where I grew up near, and her bathtub is still on the hiking trail. It freaked me out as a kid. Oh, so it's like one of those like clawfoot bathtubs just in the middle of a field and like, I don't know, growing dirt or something around. I just get that image of like, where the hell did this bathtub?
Yeah. But it sounds like it's right right next to the hiking trail. So it would be, in the woods. She was taking a bath when flood hit. So
she right there. She traveled in the bathtub, but then the bathtub landed and she. Oh, that's hard. Don't scare me, because we actually have a tornado watch tonight. We always, you know what? It's getting to the point right now with the weather that every time it rains in Texas now, it's a tornado or hail warning. That's how bad it is. So we're supposed to have a storm coming through within the next 5 minutes, and it'll probably go through it and just.
Oh no.
It happens all the time.
We had a tornado, our first tornado warning the other night. And it was kind of scary. We went to Walmart and this past weekend actually, and we went to Walmart and from our campsite, and it started, we were going around the corner because where we were at, it's kind of a curvy road, and there's a lake on one side, and then there's I call them Wisconsin mountains. We don't have mountains in Wisconsin. They're just really big hills, but I call them Wisconsin mountains. And so it's on one side and we're here, and we couldn't see nothing. All of a sudden, couldn't see nothing. Hail was coming down. We had to pull over. And when we pulled over, Tommy hit the curb. So it was like, oh, crud. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Last week, there was a tornado that hit Houston. And the videos of what happened, because it literally looked like it was bright and sunny, and then it looked like within 10 seconds, nighttime, pitch black.
Yeah,
the tornado came through and knocked out so much power. They're saying that it's going to take about 3 weeks for some of the residents to get their power back on. So a lot of people, because it destroyed the power grid down in Houston. So there are areas that got their power back, but other areas did not. Oh, Tammy says, I have friends in West Bend, Wisconsin. If I'm not mistaken, there was a tornado in West Bend a couple of days.
No, it was Spencer, Wisconsin. Okay. Now there were people saying that they saw the funnel clouds and that there was tornadoes, but there was only one that was confirmed. I think it was in Spencer.
Okay.
So, which is, I think, over by Milwaukee.
Mothership's in the house, but he's not saying
anything. Hello, sir.
He just went dot. Just to make his presence known. I hit a dot. I am here. Okay, back to urban legends.
Reel us back in. So you have a lake in New Jersey that you said has some urban legends and stuff, right?
Oh, New Jersey? Oh, I like the one.
Or Long Island. I'm sorry, whichever one it was.
Yeah, the one I posted. Hold on. The one I posted was Lake Ronkonkoma. That right there. And like I said, there's an entire story because it goes back like hundreds of years, with the settlers and stuff like that. And when you look at how many people have died in this lake, it's just very, very strange what is happening that so many people are drowning in this lake. And the fact is, it is a very deep lake. You would not, like, when you look at it, like it almost looks at the type that you stand on one side of the lake. It looks like you could walk right across it and hit the other side. It's not like it's miles and miles long. You can literally, it looks like you could swim across it, but that's the problem. People try to swim across it. They get to the middle, they drown.
Yeah, that's where you need a life jacket. Yeah. So you have a lake one. We have a lake one.
Okay. What's yours?
It's called Devil's Lake. Hopefully you guys can understand me. It's called Devil's Lake, and the story goes that the Ucatelia fought. I think I can't pronounce it very well, so I apologize. Fought against the Thunderbird and was pushed into Devil's Lake where it lives now. There have been sightings of the fish-like creature that closely resembles the Loch Ness Monster. Native Sioux were said to have seen the creature during a bad drought. We also have another story, and I can't find it, but I was told also that there is at certain times of the year, I think it's in October, if you go out to Devil's Lake around midnight, you actually will see a Native American woman come out of the water, and there's a big fight that happens. Yeah.
Cool.
I have not done it. I wanted to, but I get too tired now. I'm getting old, so
Well,
maybe
you know what?
sometime I'll go. But
I
yeah,
wonder if this is mind over matter or just like your own psychosis. But why is it when you visit places that have supernatural activities or stories or all this stuff, why even during daylight it seems so creepy? Like it almost seems like the place has an aura with it, and you get the chills, and
yeah,
it just seems like everything is off. I mean, we have a place here called Baker's Hotel. It's in Mineral Wells, Texas. And the Baker Hotel used to be a state of the art hotel where people would go as a spa treatment. So if you think of like Kellogg's or something like that, and this is the early 1900s we're talking about. The problem is, ever since the Baker Hotel opened, like on opening day, the owner flung himself out the window. So many deaths, people were going out the window. There was murders, there was suicides, there was, I mean, unalivings. I can't even say the word. And this all happened with this creepy hotel. Now the hotel has been closed for years. Well, a company just came in and bought it. They're planning on reopening it in 2025. They've been redoing the rooms and everything like that. So they want to open it up next year. And I say to myself, this is such a bad idea, because all the times I went to that hotel, it creeped me out completely with all the stories that happens over there.
yeah. Another thing about the lake that Devil's Lake here is every summer people like to rock climb, and I guess it's a beautiful area to rock climb, but we have a lot of accidents at Devil's Lake. They're constantly sending in rescue teams to get people who have fallen, and a lot of these people, when you read the comments and stuff, they're pretty good at rock climbing. So to me, that would be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I mean, not that I want to go rock climbing, but it's just a lot of mystery around Devil's Lake. And so but yeah, it's really crazy because there's so many different legends of different sea monsters and strange monsters in general in that area. And we live not that far from there. Like seriously, we don't live that far from there.
And
But we've never been there.
It's so close to home. You know what? You got that might be an interesting thing to take a trip and visit, and just like I said, feel the energy of the air. See if there's a difference with that. Now, I have an interesting story. I came across this one, and I shouldn't say it's funny, but I feel like this is where like urban legends, and it's called the Bunny Man. Now, you would think Bunny Man sounds cute, but the story of the Bunny Man goes, he's from Fairfax, Virginia. Bunny Man would dress up as a rabbit and then kill people with an axe. And there's an entire bridge named after the axe murderer Bunny. It's called the Bunny Man Bridge. And every year at Halloween, they go around skinning rabbits and then hanging the rabbits on the Bunny Man Bridge. And they said that this is something that you could see every October during Halloween on this bridge in honor of the axe murderer Bunny Man, who would go around killing people
Right.
with an axe.
Right.
But I mean, that's poor bunnies.
And if you notice, a lot of the urban legends, urban legends, urban myths, they always have to do with the month of October. A lot of them do. It's something about October. I'm telling you. I love October. I love Halloween. I love the fact that the veil is so thin, but we need some urban legends and urban myths that aren't just October. Did we want to go through the different states?
I have a link for that if you want me to post that.
Yeah, I got it up.
You got it up already?
Yeah.
Well, there is one I do want to talk about before. Hold on.
Okay.
That was the Bunny
Then
Man.
I will just
No. Let me. Hold on. No, I mentioned. No, I wanted to mention Bloody Mary.
You don't have to bring that up quite yet.
Don't bring it up quite yet? Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention Bloody Mary. The reason, because that is one of the most famous urban legends. And for those of you who don't know, you look in a mirror, you say her name 3 times, and Bloody Mary is supposed to appear. What makes it interesting, because then they turned it into a movie, Candyman. And that's the whole idea, premise of Candyman, is looking to the mirror, Candyman's going to appear. And they turn all these legends into movies, into entertainment and stuff like that. But what's interesting about Bloody Mary is it's a twofold thing. One, mirrors have always been a magical
portal.
It's a port. It's that veil portal between one world to the next. There, where it used to start off before Bloody Mary, is it used to be that if you were an unwed woman looking for a suitor, that if you looked in the mirror, you should be able to see the face of your soon-to-be husband. If you don't see your soon-to-be husband, it means you're going to be all alone. And they said the people who would die all alone and not have a partner, they would end up seeing a skull. And it makes it kind of creepy that was that of a sort of divination, sort of prophecy thing on how they would do arranged marriages. If you see a certain figure, that this is going to be your lover for the rest of your life. I don't know. But it's an interesting backstory to the Bloody Mary story. But then, like I said, remember, it's a game of telephone. So then it evolved into, you're going to see Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary's going to kill you.
Right. Okay. And real quick with that, Bloody Mary actually started in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm. So it's not, it's not a, I read that one.
Hugging Molly,
That one's great. I love that one.
So we actually have one, it looks like one urban legend or urban myth from each state. And that's what we're going to go through.
And I'm going to put that link in the chat so that this way, if anybody wants to follow with us or save it for later, it's the Reader's Digest version, of the 50 states. There we go. Right there. Reader's Digest top 50 by state. Okay, here we go. Go for it.
All right. So we have Huggin' Molly. This is an Alabama one. And this is a legend, urban legend. It says the legend of Huggin' Molly is clearly a tool used by parents to get their children to obey the rules. The story, native to Abbeville, tells of a phantom woman who appears to children if they stay out late at night. She grips the lingering child tightly and screams in their ear. She's not meant to cause death, just one heck of a fright. Sounds like something straight out of a horror movie.
And I think I put the wrong link in, so let me get the correct link, because I tried to open it up.
That's the one that I
So why is it saying page not found on my end when I try to... Hold on. Did I... Oh, now I got it. I don't know. I tried opening it, and said page not found. Now it's found. Okay, never mind. Continue.
It's all good. It's all good. So some of these I might butcher, so I apologize in advance. We'll try to get through this pretty quickly. Alaska, the Kwalupalik link.
I would say Kwalupalik. Kwalupalik?
Okay, so I was a strong reader.
I something, if we mispronounce it, that's okay.
We apologize in advance. So I'm just going to call it the Q. And in unit version of a mermaid or siren calls with a hum to children who are wandering too close to the seashore, then takes them away in her baby pouch. The greenish woman-like creature will never return a child once taken into the depths. Sounds like a good way to convince your kids not to go in the water, if you ask us. Stick them in front of a great Halloween movie for kids instead.
We never did our mermaid and siren one. That would have been an absolute perfect one for...
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to remember this because we have this saved. We'll have to definitely go through. And I'm not sure what this video is, so I'm not going to play it. Here's another one. Arizona, the Slaughterhouse Canyon. Also known as Luna's Canyon, the urban legend of Slaughterhouse Canyon tells the gruesome tale of a 19th century gold miner who failed to come home to his family one night. Without his earnings, the mother and her child couldn't buy food and began to starve. When she couldn't stand it any longer, the wife chopped her kids into pieces, tossed them into the nearby river, and unalive of despair, her cries can still be heard echoing through the canyon.
Oh, Slaughterhouse Canyon.
Arkansas, the
Gordon Light? Gordon? I would say Gordon.
okay, like many urban legends, the story of the Gurdon Light has several variations. In one, a railroad worker was hit by a train and lost his head. His spirit can still be seen today searching for his lost light. In another, the railroad worker bore a violent grudge against his boss who had fired him. He unalived his former employer with a railroad spike, and the victim now wanders the tracks. While the Gordon Light is well documented, no one has been able to offer an explanation as to what it really is. Now, we actually have something similar to that up north in Wisconsin, but in the woods, but it was of a gentleman whose son went missing. One of the stories is the son went missing, and he had his lantern, and he didn't give up looking for his son. He ended up passing away. So if you see the lantern in these woods, then that's him still looking for his son.
Oh, that's so sad. Hello, land sharker picker. I can't even talk. I'm like land sharker picker. Sorry, land shark picker. I'll get it right. Welcome to the show. I can't talk today.
Here's a California one. Charman of San Antonio Creek. Per local lore, a father and son were trapped in a horrible fire. The father perished, and before help could arrive, the traumatized son lost his mind. He skinned his father and then ran into the forest. Now known forever as Charman, his blackened, burnt body is asked to attack motorists on Creek Road in Jaya as he seeks more human skins. If you're into spooky stuff, learn the real meaning behind omens and urban legends.
See, when I see this one, all I think of is Charmander from Pokemon, because the cute little thing is like, Charmander!
And the thing is with these, depending on where you're at, you do get lots of variations of each of these urban legends and urban myths, and it's very interesting to me, like with the one with the railroad, this one, the Gurdon Light.
Garden Light,
we have one like that up north. We have a story like that up north. And so going through these, if you have something similar to something that we're reading here, say, hey, we have that, and we'd love to hear about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because everybody has, and like I said, there's so many variations to these stories.
Mm-hmm. I mean, these are just brief ones, so it's not really going into like where to come from, this and that. But I mean, right now we're just kind of sharing what we've found, and it's pretty interesting seeing some of the similarities even states away, So Colorado, the Ridge Home Asylum. The Ridge Home Asylum was a real facility that opened in Arvada in 1912. But it became an urban legend because of its history. It's reportedly housed patients who were horribly mistreated, some of whom were even mentally incapable, but had just been forsaken by their families. Though it was demolished in 2004, people say they could still hear the screams and see the apparitions of former patients on the grounds. But maybe they're just people looking for last-minute Halloween costumes.
Now, not to derail this conversation, but I just want to speak about one thing with this, that for people who like to do research or like to venture out into other avenues, if you really want to find an interesting rabbit hole, read up about asylums between the years 1850 to 1920. Okay, there's a very, very interesting trend to insane asylums between 1850 and 1920, and it all ties together with a whole bunch of numerous theories. And I'm not even going to go into details, but one of the things, just question yourself, is why were the asylums so big? Why were the buildings so extravagant? And why were there so many people? And it also leads, and I'm going to put one more thing if anybody wants to do some more research, read up on the orphan trains in the 1900s. I'll just leave it at that. This is one of those things, do your own research. And in fact, I'll put it in the chat if anybody wants to read up on it. So it's just in regards to asylums. So I know some people like to read up on things. So, okay, continue.
For sure. Doodley Town. This is a Connecticut one. The misfortunes that have occurred in Doodley Town starting in the 1700s are so terrible and numerous that its nickname is Village of the Damned, which they did make a movie called that. And they also have made a movie called Urban Legends. So check those out if you haven't. The now completely deserted town is said to have been home to many unalivings, disappearances, and even demonic activity that have given rise to several urban legends. It is believed that the founders of the village, and by extension, the village itself, are forever cursed.
Hello, Lisa's New Adventures. Welcome to the show.
Meanwhile, these ghost stories from the most haunted places in the world will seriously give you chills. Fort Delaware. A prisoner camp during the Civil War, Fort Delaware in Delaware City was ultimately home to more than 30,000 Confederate soldier inmates. The few thousands who passed before they could leave the Union fort are said to still haunt the area. Speaking of haunting, are you looking for a scary Halloween costume? Look no further.
You realize they keep trying to put in the advertisement in between each one.
I know, right? I know. They're like, oh, we can do this.
Yeah, let's
Florida. Now, I was born in Florida, and I was raised there until I was almost 11. So this is kind of an interesting one for me. Florida, Captain Tony. Since 1852, Captain Tony, the oldest saloon in Key West, has been known to be haunted. Doors slam for no apparent reason, and there are inexplicable banging noises and frequent ghostly visitations. Perhaps that's because it's the site of the town's original morgue and was built around a tree that the town once used for hanging pirates.
Interesting. Lots of spirits and ghosts.
In the Dells, we have a bar that's been around forever, and it's called the Showboat. And there's actually a tunnel from underneath the Showboat going out towards the water.
Ooh.
And it has been said that the mob used to take out the naughty people out that way.
And just put them in the water. Let them.
Yep. Okay, here's one for Georgia. The Song of the Cell. As urban legends go, in 1848, Elika and his wife Betsy, both slaves, were in their home one night when their master, drunk and belligerent, crashed open the door. He attempted to attack Betsy, but Alec, we're going to call him Eliki. I don't even know how to say that.
I would say Alec. Alec, yeah, Alec.
Okay, we're going to say Alec. Fought him off. Undetermined, the master chased Alec up a ladder into a loft. As the struggle continued, the master lost his balance, fell out of the loft, and passed away. Even though Alec turned himself into the sheriff the next morning, explaining that what had happened was self-defense, he was still charged with the passing. Per the court in the
Antebellum South.
Yep. Alec was imprisoned in the old Lawrenceville jail and later unalived unjustly for the crime. People say they can still hear his sorrowful song traveling through the walls of the old jail.
Oh, so he was like the singing death row. Well, I can't even say that, can I? Yeah, he was like the singing prisoner.
Yeah, and I think we should do one. I like this one here. It says, for more real life tales, don't miss these strange urban legends that turned out to be true.
They're all true. That's why I said I almost want to say that each of these has a bit of truth in it, and the story just got away and
right. Oh, here's one in Hawaii. Pali Highway, and I apologize if I messed that up. Pali, the Hawaiian volcano goddess, has many myths attached to her name. One tells of her ill-fated union with the demigod
Kamapua.
Thank you. Who was half pig and half human. Interesting. The two supernatural beings had a terrible breakup, agreeing to never see each other again. That's why, as urban legend has it, if you carry pork with you when you travel over the Pali Highway in
Oahu,
Ohio, your car will come to an unexpected halt. Next time you're in the area, we advise sticking to chicken. Another tip, make sure you're not staying in any of these haunted hotels.
See, I told you they're trying to put the ads in for each one.
It works. All right, Idaho.
Oh, this sounds scary. The
water babies of Massacre Rock.
Oh, that sounds scary.
This urban legend is about starvation and
infanticide.
There we go. So if you're squeamish, you may want to skip ahead. When famine hit the local area, feminine. Oh, wow.
It's okay.
Breakups are hard even for the supernatural beings, right? That's what we're saying, Lisa. That's crazy. But man, I think we would be in trouble, honestly, because Tommy and Jasmine love pork so much. So we would be in so much trouble.
Don't bring bacon over the bridge.
Right? Oh boy. All right. So where were we? When famine hit the local area of Pocatello, mothers resorted to unaliving their babies in the rivers instead of letting them starve to death.
Aww.
It is said that these babies turned into fish-like imps whose new mission was to trick or even unalive people.
Okay, I just have one stupid question, and this is my mentality. If they're that starving and they are they're unaliving their babies, when they just turn to cannibalism, or
you would think so, but maybe in that nationality or whatnot, which I believe would be a Native American tribe, maybe that was against what they believed. Lisa said, stop having babies. Right. Yeah, that's another option. But a lot of times, I mean, they didn't have birth control back then. So I don't know, but I would agree. Stop having babies, but
which leads to, I'll just say this since Tammy said, "Oh, I'm definitely going to read about the asylum." Stop having babies. Go back to the orphan trains of the 1900s. Very interesting.
So
I won't keep going back, but I mean, it ties together nicely.
Right. So fish like imps. Okay, that's very interesting. Some of these urban legends and these myths and stuff, they're urban myths. They're quite interesting. Wait until you see the Wisconsin one. That one's crazy. I read that one, and it was also proven, but we'll get to that one. Illinois, Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, often refers to as one of the most haunted graveyards in America. This 82-plot cemetery is known as the home of many phantom sightings. People who have visited the site have seen numerous inexplicably illusions, from a ghostly white lady to an
ephemeral
white farmhouse. And we don't live that far from Illinois either. So, 100 Steps Cemetery. This is in Indiana. This is starting to get into my area, not far from me. This is like the Midwest here. So Indiana, 100 Step Cemetery. If you visit this cemetery in the town of Brazil and climb the 100 steps in the total darkness of night, urban legend has it you'll see the ghost of the original caretaker appear before you on top of the hill. Apparently, he will give you a preview of what your own passing will look like. I will pass on that. Thank you.
No, because the next thing in my mind is, what is he going to push you down the 100 steps, and that's how you know what's going to happen?
No, I don't know. I don't know how true these are, but let me tell you, these are really trippy. Like, they really are trippy. Then we have Iowa, Stony Hollow Road. As the saying goes, a woman's scorn is not someone you want to mess with. Lucinda of the town of Burlington is no different. Legend says that when her fiance failed to meet her there as promised one night, she threw herself off the bluffs along Stony Hollow Road. Ever since, her ghost has appeared to countless people. What's much worse, if she leaves a rose at your feet, you are destined to pass within 24 hours, or so the story goes.
Oh, no, that's creepy.
Yeah, Candyman, I like the first Candyman. The second one was a little weird for me. Like, I think they went a little too far with the second one. But Candyman was a pretty decent movie. I liked it. And I'm not much of a scary movie person.
And it was taken from Bloody Mary. I mean, that's the whole premise of Candyman is Bloody Mary.
Okay, so this is Kansas. It's Molly's Hollow.
And I just want to remind you, we've got roughly 10 minutes. So, okay.
Yep. Okay, so this one is the urban legend of Molly Hollow speaks to the country's racist side or history. As the legend goes, when the local townfolk found out that Molly, an African-American woman, was involved with a white man, she was lynched, which that's not good. People claimed her spirit is still there screaming at night. Well, I hope she finds peace, because that was not okay.
I feel like a lot of these stories all have the same undertone of love, of trying to find your partner. You know what I mean? It's like of sorrow, of tragedy.
Broken hearts. It's crazy. Okay, so Kentucky, Hogan's Fountain. In Cherokee Park, you'll find Hogan's Fountain, which features a statue of Pan, the pastoral yet devious Greek god. At every full moon, some versions say every night at midnight, the figure of Pan wanders the park, causing mischief for passengers.
He's usually the one that's the
it's with the
one
flute.
That's the goat with the flute, and he has like the goat body.
Yep. Pan is a scary ass god. Yeah. He's definitely different. Louisiana, the Carter brothers. Back in the early 1930s, a young woman escaped from the home of the Carter brothers in New Orleans with slash marks on her wrists. She told the police that the brothers were feeding off her blood. The cops stormed the French Quarter residence where they found more young women in similar states, their blood draining from their bodies. The brothers, now thought to be vampires, were captured and unalived, only for it to be discovered years later that their crypts were empty.
Oh, did they wake up and survive?
Now, I
Real
know
vampires?
that with vampires, when that whole thing started where people were scared that people would come back as vampires, they used to put a stake through the heart or they would off with their heads.
Or they would put a bell in the coffin. So if you ring the bell, then they know that you're still alive down there, like a little.
Yep, that was another thing they used to do back in the day because there were so many times that people didn't realize that they weren't passed away.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of medical conditions too that cause that. So, where people think you're not there or you're unalive, but you really are. Okay, so here we go. Maine. Segan.
I would say Segun Lighthouse.
Yep.
My cousin wrote a book on the ghost stories. If you have a link or anything, you can post it. I mean, if not, that's still an amazing feat.
Right? That'd be awesome.
Actually, what we should do is, since there's only 7 minutes left, why don't we skip over because you wanted to do your area, Wisconsin, and pull up West Virginia, maybe see what West Virginia says.
Okay, let's get down here.
I mean, I don't mean to rush us, but we were only doing this show for 1 hour.
Yep.
So
maybe next week we'll cover the rest of the states that we didn't, because we stopped at which one? I'll have to go back and look, but maybe we'll go through the rest of it. I know. Let's see. Did we say Vermont? Oh no, West Virginia. Sorry. Brain just went away for a minute.
Okay. There it is. And we're doing a show on that one.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, this one is the Mothman. So that's West Virginia. Yes, this is the same Mothman from the movie, The Mothman Prophecies, which I watched and it was trippy. The final scene of that movie is a retelling of a take on an event that actually happened in 1967. The Silver Bridge that connected Point Pleasant, West Virginia with Gallipolis, Ohio, which I think I said that completely wrong. I really apologize for that. Whoever lives there, collapsed at the height of rush hour, killing 46 people. According to the legend, it was the Mothman, the greater bringer of death, who caused the accident. Now, when we do talk about the Mothman, there's some research that was done involving that town. So we will touch base on that when we do the Mothman.
And Mothman's coming up in a couple of weeks. I don't have the exact schedule, but we're definitely going to be doing that. And do West Virginia, and then yours, Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then we'll make this the last one.
Okay, so this one is Wisconsin, the Bloody Headstone at Riverside Cemetery. And this is located in Appleton, which is not that far from our house either. It's like an hour from our house. But this urban legend tells of a local woman by the name of Kate Blood, fitting, right? Who said to have killed her husband and 3 children, after which she unalived herself. Her headstone at Riverside Cemetery in Appleton allegedly drips with blood every full moon. Though if you do visit, a glance at her headstone will quickly debunk the legend. She was actually outlived by her husband and her only child.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So this one I've never heard of, but I do want to do a little bit more research on that one because we do go to Appleton a lot. So it would be interesting to see about that one.
Now, Lisa said that her cousin wrote a book. If anybody wants to take a look at it, it's by Susan Dahl. It's on Amazon, and it is Ghost Stories from West Virginia. So that should be a really great book if you want to read up more about that. So post it. Now, unfortunately, guys, we do have to end this a little early. But next week, oh God, what are we doing next week?
Okay, so next week we're going to do mythological creatures, but I think maybe we should continue with the urban legends / myths with the rest of these.
Okay.
And then the following week, we'll just move the mythological creatures till we come back after July 4th.
Okay, that works.
And then, and anybody who watches us afterwards, please let us know any urban legends or urban myths that you have in your state, in your town, and put them down in the description below, because, or down into the chat below, because we'd love to read those.
Yes. And we want to hear your stories. I mean, that's the whole point of this show. It's not all about us. We want to hear what you guys have to say, your stories, your personal interactions, what's coming up in your area. So we'll probably do more of this next week. I didn't even do I have to do the thumbnail and everything like that. And then we will continue on our show.
So yeah, the 11th, I think we'll do the mythological creatures. We'll move that one.
Now that's June 11th or July 11th?
July 11th.
Okay, so we're putting it, okay.
Yep, so we'll finish the urban legends one up next week, since we did have to cut it short.
And I'll bring out some more urban legends, because there's some really interesting stories aside from the top ones. Yes, West Virginia is very haunted.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I know, like in Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin's has a lot of haunted stuff too. So I think this will also give me some time to go to the library and pull up some of the stuff that I was going to do. But we ended up busy this week, and then I was healing and still healing, but I want to definitely go back to this next week. And Lisa says you have to read through her books about Elvis and read through her books about Elvis and Marilyn and film. I have her name written down. So I like that kind of stuff. And I know Melanie does too.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then again, down below, please share what state you're in. If you have any urban legends, or if you just want to share your state, we'll look into that state, what kind of urban legends and urban myths are in there. This is an exciting one.
Like this one.
It kind of incorporates not only haunted, paranormal stuff, but it also, kind of intertwines a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I personally like urban legends and myths. I think they're just really unique and special because they're tailored to your area.
And the thing is, it's funny how no matter where you are, either the story is the same but slightly different, or it's a completely different story. And that's why we try to introduce you to some interesting ones that are out there. But we will continue next week. And we thank everybody who came out. We're sorry that we had to end this a little early, but
much love, everybody. Thank you. If you're interested, I have talked to her about being a guest on my show sometime to talk about her book. Hey, there we go.
Yes, definitely invite her on your show and give us the link. We would love to see it.
Right. For sure. And, that would be awesome. I'm excited.
All right, guys. Have a great night. Much love. We will see you next week. We probably will be back on Tuesday on Dez's channel for mental health. Yes. And then we'll be back next week doing part 2 of Urban Myths and Legends. Take care, everyone.
Have a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Weekend.
Oh, yes, it's a
Party
holiday
hard,
weekend.
stay safe.
So
and
enjoy it.
Yes, party hard, but stay safe. Do not drive if you decide to drink. Have a designated driver. We would love to see you guys back next week. So with that, much love. We'll talk to you later.
Take care, guys. Bye.